Hi, my name is Derek Su, Executive Coding Officer for KITE, and welcome back to the free KITE Python course. Here on KITE, we are on a mission to spread knowledge of new technologies across the world. Now that we are finished with iterations, let's look deeper into Python strings. So a string is a sequence of characters. You can access these characters one at a time using indexes, just like a list. And actually, in its own way, a string is a list of just letters or characters. So let's take a look at this example in the text editor. So we have a variable called fruit, and that variable contains banana. And now we have a new variable called letter, and we want that to contain just a single letter from fruit. So let's just say the first letter, and let's print out letter. So in this case, this should contain B because we want the character at index 0, which is the first index. So we have B. We can also do this for any other index. So we could do index 1 for A. We could do index 2 for N. And if you want the last letter, we would do index 5. So the length function returns a number of values in a string. In this example, the variable fruit contains banana, and if we take the len of fruit and print it, we will get 6 as a result. And this is because banana contains 6 characters. So let's take a look at this example. In this code, we're trying to get the last letter of the string banana, but an error is made. Can you figure out why this doesn't work and how we should fix it in order to get the correct output? I'll give you a moment and then I'll show you the correct answer in just a second. In this case, remember that indexes start at 0. So if we were to take the len of fruit, which contains banana, we would get 6 because it has 6 characters. But now, if we go here, we would try to get the character at index 6. But since the index starts at 0, the indexes only go from 0 to 5. Since the last letter has an index of 5, the sixth index doesn't exist, so we get an error. In order to get the last letter, we would have to subtract the length by 1 in order to get 5 to correctly get the last character at index 5, which is A. So in some cases, we might want to compute one letter at a time with the string, and this is called traversal, where we look at each letter and determine if we want to do something with it. You could do this with the while loop, or you could do this with the for loop. And I'll show you both methods, as well as potential uses for traversal. So first, let's see how to traverse. So I'm just going to start by making a variable called index, and I'm going to make it start at 0. And I'm going to make a while loop and say that while this variable index is less than the length of fruit, and actually for index, I will declare that fruit equals banana. And I'm going to make a local variable called letter, and this variable will contain the character of fruit at this index. And I'm going to print the letter just so you guys can see what's going on. And for each iteration, I'm going to increase index by 1. So what should happen is that it will simply print the word banana, but in each letter in its own separate line, which you can see here. And while this is a correct way of how to traverse this variable, which contains banana, a much simpler way would just be use a for loop, just like we learned. So if we have for, and let's just make a variable called char for character in this variable fruit, I'm just going to print the character. And this should be the exact same thing. And now, this is nice. We can print each letter individually. But are there any practical uses for doing this? Well, one thing that I can show you is that, let's say a user typed something and they inputted some spaces. So in this case, let's say they inputted banana, but they had a bunch of spaces in it. And we want to remove these spaces. So let's make another variable called new fruit. And what we want new fruit to contain is this variable fruit, but without the spaces. And right now it's just empty. But we can do this by saying, look, for each character in fruit, if the character is not a space, we will add it to new fruit. So basically we're going to concatenate each letter into new fruit that is not a space. And what new fruit should contain, once you print it, is just banana without all these extra spaces, which you can see is here. Another thing that we can do with strings is called slicing. And a slice is a segment of a string. So let's look at this example. We have the variable s, which contains Monty Python. And we want to print s sliced from index 0 to index 5. And basically what this means is that we want the portion of the string that starts at 0, inclusive, and ends at 5, which is exclusive, so we don't include the fifth one. So let's just count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending at the space, which we do not include, but we do include the beginning, so we should just get Monty, which is seen here. We can also start in the middle if we want to, so we can print the variable s sliced from 6 to 12, 12 exclusive, so let's start at 6, which is the p, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the 12th is just empty. And we exclude it anyway. So we just want to consider the word Python, which is what is seen here. And we can also do this by excluding either the first or the last number, which basically just means we want from the beginning to a certain index, or we want a certain index to the end. So let's take a look at this second example. Let's say we have the variable fruit, and it contains banana. If we want to slice from the beginning to index 3, which what that means, if there's nothing there, it means the beginning, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, excluding 3, so we just get ban, which is here. And if we want to slice from 3 to the end, and there being no number in the second place means the end, you would get Anna, because you start at 3, which is A and A. Now using the text editor, let's take another look at slicing using a different example. So here we have a variable s, which contains hello world. And let's say we want to print s sliced from 0 to 7. Okay, let's just retype it, 0 to 7. And this gives us hello w. And that's because we start at 0, which is h, and go to the 7th index, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's O. But remember, we have to exclude the last index in the slice. So we should just get hello w, which is what we did get. And note that this is also the same as slicing from just :7, because having nothing in the beginning indicates that we should start the slice at the beginning of the string. So this also gives the same output, hello w. Let's look at another slice from the middle. So let's say you want to slice from 4 to 7. And in this case, this gives us O space W. And that's because we start at the 4th index, which is O, and we count to 7. So 4, 5, 6, 7, which is the O in world. But note, we have to exclude that last index. So we should just get O space W, which is what we did get. So let's look at one more example. Let's say we want to slice from 8 to 12. This gives us RLD exclamation mark. And that's because we start at the 8th index, which is R, and we count to 12. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. and the 12th index is empty. So excluding that last empty index, we get RLD exclamation mark. And note that this is also the same as slicing from 8 to just nothing, because having nothing there indicates that we should go from some index to the end. So in this case, 8 to the end. So this gives us also RLD.